Hey hookah guys and girls! Welcome to part 1 of a 6-part series. Today we're going to be going over hookah setup. Alright, first we're going to start, everything is in pieces. So you want to take your neck and attach it to your stem. Just before we get started and filling up with water, I just want to make it clear to you that you want about to have an inch of water covering the stem. Any more than that, and it's going to be really hard to draw like your smoke through it. Any less than that, and you're not going to be getting the water filter. So, for this size base, just a regular bottle of water is going to do just fine. I typically recommend that you use filtered water, distilled water, just to maintain the purity of the taste. But tap water is fine too. Voila! Alright. Then you want to put your neck and your stem securely into the base, making sure it has a nice tight seal. And as you can see, there's about an inch of water that's covering the stem. And that's as much as you want. No more, no less. Alright, next we're going to move on to putting the shisha in the bowl. Make sure that you have something to wipe your hands on because it is very sticky. What you want to do is take it out clump by clump. You want to fluff it a little bit as you're putting it into the bowl, just to make sure that it's not packed down so warm air can flow through it and it can bake adequately. It's a little time consuming, but it definitely tastes better. Another good thing to remember is that you don't want to fill the bowl too high. So then once you put your tin foil and then your coal on top of it, it'll burn to the roof. So just make sure that once you're pretty sure you filled it up to the right length, you want to hold it up to eye level and make sure that nothing's really poking out so it won't burn to the tin foil. Now that that is done, you want to get your tin foil out. You want to make sure it's taut. Put it over the top of your bowl. Pull it tight to make sure that you have a good seal. Your next step would be to be poking the holes. You want as many small, numerous holes as possible so that the hot air can flow through it. If you have too big of holes, it's going to taste a lot like charcoal. So something similar to this would be good. All right. Next thing you want to do is get your charcoal ready. For starting out, I recommend quick lights, easier to use, and just you get going a lot faster. You do have the option of natural coals. Those are a little bit more difficult to light, and I don't recommend them typically to start out with, but they're still a good coal. Typical coal size is about this big. You can use larger coals and break them up. It's up to you. Now, before you light it, you want to make sure you have a safe place that's protected so you don't spark everywhere. What you want to do is put in your tray. Make sure this is screwed on tight. I'll set your bowl on top, making sure that the tin foil is still tight. You don't want to be touching the coal to the shisha at any point, which could extinguish the coal and just make it taste horrid. You're going to take your coal, holding it at a safe distance away from your face. What you want to do to start is make sure you light it from underneath. There is some sparking, and so that might throw things off in different directions. So just make sure you're doing it in a safe area, and again, away from your face. It'll start sparking up. Give it a couple seconds. you can set on the top of your bowl. As it's lighting, feel free to put your hose in, making sure that your grommet is either on the end of the hose or inside of the hookah stem. This protects your air seal, so it smokes well. Give it a couple minutes while it's lighting up. One, you want the coal to be fully lit when you start smoking, and also it takes a while for the shisha to get warm. The idea is to bake it or cook it rather than burning it. It's a good idea to also blow on it just to make sure it is fully lit. Once the coal is fully lit, you can start kind of pulling air slowly through it. You don't want to start massively drawing air, just slowly to start the whole process going off smoothly. It can take a while to actually get this going, so be patient. You'll start to get small wisps of smoke. Just keep going and keep it at a regular pace. As you're smoking, it's not a bad idea to move the coal around to different areas of the bowl to make sure that the heat displacement is even and that you're cooking the entire bowl versus one area. Another good thing to remember, as you're getting about half an hour in or so, depending on how it tastes, you might want to take the coal off and stir the bowl a little bit to make sure that everything is evenly cooked and that there isn't uncooked portions at the bottom. To safely do this, you want to take your tongs, pick up your coal, put it into the tray, very delicately take this guy off, also set that in the tray. Most tongs have a stir stick. You can use that instead of your fingers. Make sure nothing gets burned. You can fold the foil back down and place the charcoal back on top of the bowl, or light up a new coal if necessary. Okay, and so now you can enjoy a more fresh taste. To cover a couple of key points in review, you want to make sure that the bottom inch of your stem is covered with water. No more, no less. For your shisha, you want to make sure that it's pulled apart, fluffed a little bit as you put it into the bowl. For the tin foil, make sure to make as many small, numerous holes as possible, as opposed to large gaping ones. This will improve the quality of your smoke. For the coal, make sure to leave it on top of the bowl for a little bit, couple minutes, just to make sure that the heat rises and you start with a good quality smoke. And that's how you set up your hookah. Good job. Just stay tuned for part 2 of the 6-part series.